Hello, how are you? I'm a little tired. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today it is July 7th, 2022. We had a torrential rain for 5 or 10 minutes yesterday, which surprised me. So I suddenly went to close the windows. According to the weather forecast, it was sunny or cloudy yesterday, but the sudden heavy rain surprised me. I think many people were drying futon or clothing outside. They must have been surprised at it. What do the ideograms indicate? What does the ideogram indicate? I'm not sure what the ideogram indicate. The researchers are studying about the ideograms. What the ideograms indicating? The researchers are researching what the ideograms carved on the walls indicate. What does the ideogram stand for? What does the ideogram stand for? No one knows what the ideogram stands for. No one knows what the ideogram stands for. There are many hazardous chemicals, hazardous substances out there. There are many hazardous substances out there. There are many hazardous substances out there. There is a sensor in the truck limiting the speed of the car. If the driver speeds the limited speed, the sensor will notify the driver by the sound or siren. Beep 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 beep. High technology and machines are used in the production in the factory. Water is a chemical compound consisting of hydrogen and oxygen. Water is a chemical compound consisting of hydrogen and oxygen. Water is a chemical compound. Water is a chemical compound. Chemical compound. Chemical compound. Chemical compounds. Chemical compounds. Chemical compounds. Chemical compounds. Water is a chemical compound composed of hydrogen and oxygen. Water is a chemical compound made of hydrogen and oxygen. Water, or H2O, is a compound consisting of hydrogen and oxygen. CO2, carbon dioxide, consists of carbon and oxygen. Hmm? Hmm. Chemical compounds, 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 chemical compounds. Water is a chemical compound consisting of hydrogen and oxygen. Carbon dioxide, CO2, is made up of carbon and oxygen. CO2 is also a chemical compound. Chemical compound. Many things are chemical compounds. 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 Water is a chemical compound composed of oxygen and hydrogen. Water, H2O, is a chemical compound made up of hydrogen and oxygen. Water is a chemical compound composed of hydrogen and oxygen. Chemical compounds. Chemical compounds. This is the decision which is determined to ban everything from illegal things. Are you determined to study abroad? Are you determined to study abroad? Are you determined to marry her? There are many requirements to be met. There are many requirements to be met to apply for the job. There are many requirements to be met. There are many requirements to be met. There are many requirements to be met. I have a friend who is really into electronic devices. So he likes to go to Akihabara, where there are many electric shops. We have to comply with the rules to keep the peace. We have to comply with the compliance rules to keep the peace. Some hooligans don't comply with the laws. The employee was fired because he didn't comply with the compliance. Some students don't comply with what the teachers say. Some students don't comply with what the teachers say. Some students do not comply with what the teachers say. Some students do not comply with what the teachers say. Some people do not comply with the speed limit. Some people do not comply with speed limit. Some people do not comply with the speed limit. If you cannot comply with the rules, you will be fired. If you cannot comply with the rules, you might be laid off. Why can't you comply with the compliance? Why you hate to comply with what the professors say? What is the reason? What is the reason why you hate to comply with your boss? Can I know the reason why you hate to comply with your boss? Can I know the reasons for that you hate to comply with the boss? Can I know the reasons why you hate to comply with your boss? I have a friend who really loves electronic devices. There are many electronic devices in his room, which surprised me a lot. I'm not familiar with electronic devices, so it was awesome. He is very familiar with electronic devices, so whenever I buy a computer, I ask him which is the best computer for me. Are you familiar with electronic devices? Did you learn about electronic devices? He majored in electronic subject. He is interested in electronic subjects. Electronic subjects. He has a lot of books related to electronic devices. He read many books related to electronic devices. Many electronic devices were thrown away. There are many electronic waste out there. Electronic devices are sold. You can find many electronic shops in Akihabara in Tokyo or Nihonbashi in Osaka. Akihabara is famous for the place where there are many electronic shops, or recently there are many shops related to Japanese animation. The machine assemble electronic components so fast. So all we have to do is to push the button of the machine. The machine can assemble each electronic devices automatically. So all we have to do is to push the button of the machine. The machine assemble each electronic device, electronic component automatically. The machine assemble each electronic component. The machine assemble each electronic component. The electronic device is very delicate, so we have to wear glove to prevent the damage on the surface of the device. Some high school students came to the factory to see the production. There are many electrical shops in Akihabara in Tokyo or Nihonbashi in Osaka. I have been there many times. Are you interested in electrical goods, electrical merchandise, electrical gadgets, electrical component, electrical goods, electrical merchandise? Are you interested in electrical merchandise, electric shops? Did you graduate as an electrical engineer? I have to reduce the amount of caffeine in a day because recently I drink a lot of coffee, which is affecting my health. What does the company manufacture? What is the machine manufacturing? Can I know what the machine is manufacturing? The machine is manufacturing the base of the semiconductor. The base will be sent to the middle part of the assembly line. So this floor you are standing here is the front line of the assembly. Passing the examination is very strict if you prepare for that from now. Only 3 months are left. Where did you purchase? Where did you purchase the clothes? Clothes. It looks very good. I want to buy the same one as it's worn by you. Where did you purchase the computer? Where did you purchase such a cute pencil? I should have asked you before I made the purchase. I should have asked you before I made the purchase. The purchase is available only online. The purchase of the goods is available only online. Is the merchandise displayed on the display purchasable? Purchasable. Are the goods displayed on the display purchasable? Are the merchandise displayed on the display purchasable? Are the merchandise on the display purchasable? Are the items on the display purchasable? Are the merchandise on the display purchasable? Purchasable. Purchasable. Is the item on display purchasable? Is the item on display purchasable? I'd like to ask you, is the item on display purchasable? 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 No, unfortunately it is not purchasable. There are many merchandises which are not purchasable. There are many merchandises or goods which are not purchasable. I'm afraid the limited edition of the goods are no longer purchasable. It was just limited. They were sold during the only limited term. I'm afraid the limited version of the bag is no longer purchasable, which was sold only for a period of time. I'm afraid the limited version of the bag is no longer purchasable. The limited version of the bag is purchasable until the end of the month. So please hurry up. Don't pass up. Don't miss it. The limited version of the bag is purchasable until the end of the month. purchasable, purchasable. Many purchasers were deceived by the fraud. Many purchasers of the goods were deceived by the fraud. They should have known better than to be deceived. Many purchasers were deceived by the fraud. They should have known better than to be deceived. They should have known better than to be deceived. They should have known better than to be deceived. I was one of the purchasers. The purchaser of the goods got 20% off the price. The 100 purchasers who came first to the shop got 20% off the price. The first 100 purchasers got 20% off the price. The first 100 purchasers to the shop could get 50% off the price. The first 100 purchasers to the shop could get the original bag signed by the artist. The first 100 purchasers to the shop could get the bag signed by the celebrity after the shopping. The first 100 purchasers could have the bag signed by the celebrity. The 1 millionth purchaser to the shop could buy the goods for free. The 1 millionth purchaser into the shop was celebrated with applause and got a praise as a 1 millionth customer purchaser to the shop. The 1 millionth purchaser was celebrated at the entrance of the shop as a 1 millionth customer into the shop, and he could get many prizes on the day. Purchaser, 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 purchaser. I have to meet many requirements to apply for the job. In order to apply for the job, you need to meet many requirements. You need many requirements. he couldn't enter the university because he did not meet the entrance requirement. Entrance requirement. Entrance requirement. In order to enter the high school, you need to meet the entrance requirement. So as to enter the high school, you need to meet the entrance requirement. Entrance requirement. You need to meet the entrance requirement. Nowadays, many shops put restrictions of entering the facility at the entrance as the entrance requirements, which consist of taking temperature and decontaminate the hands at the entrance. Nowadays there are entrance requirements such as taking temperature and decontaminate their hands at the entrance before entering the shops. The entrance requirements are very strict. The entrance requirements are very strict. The entrance requirements are very strict. And we have to meet many requirements before the start. I have to meet many requirements before applying for the job. I have to meet many requirements before applying for the job. Many shops put entrance requirements such as taking temperature and washing hands. I mean, decontaminate hands at the entrance before entering. The vocational school does not have entrance requirements. Some schools do 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 not have entrance requirements. My boss required me to go on business trip to Singapore alone. My friends required me to pick them up at the airport. My friends required me to pick them up at the airport. Arriving at the airport at least 2 hours before the departure is required. Getting TOEIC score more than 900 is required before applying for the job. At least 2 years of experience on the spot is required as the requirement of the job, applying for the job. At least 2 years of experience on site is required to apply for the job. Some students lost some required subjects. There are some required subjects I didn't like. There were some required subjects I didn't like. Some students lost any required subjects, and they were obliged to spend the same year again. Required subject, a 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 required subject, required subject, a 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 required subject, 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 required subject. I was about to flunk a required subject, but I survived. I was about to flunk a required subject, but I survived by submitting my notebook to the teacher. The restrictions are being deregulated. The border restriction is being deregulated. The border restrictions are being deregulated to help the tourism industry. Such strict restrictions were put on the border to prevent infection. Many strong restrictions were put on the border to prevent infection. Stricter restrictions might delay the advancement of technologies. Strong restriction might delay the advancement of technologies. The restrictions might delay the advancement of technologies. The new rules restrict the number of people who are allowed to enter the facility at once. The new rules restrict the number of people who are allowed to enter the facility at once. The new policy restricts the number of people who are allowed to have the meeting at once. The new policy restricts the number of people who are allowed to have lunch or dinner together at once. The newly enacted policy is very notorious. The newly enacted policy is hated by the citizens. The company was established in 1990s. The newly established amusement park is very popular. The newly established hotel is struggling with the pandemic. The newly established tourism company is struggling with the pandemic. I'd like to establish myself as a diplomat in the future. If I could restart my life again, I would establish myself as a diplomat. The company was established before I was born. The very famous company was established before I was born. If I could restart my life again, I would establish myself as a diplomat and contribute to developing good relation with other countries. If I could restart my life again, I would establish myself as a diplomat and help contribute to developing goodwill relationships with other countries. Animation industry has already been established. Animation industry has already been established, mainly thanks to the spread of the internet. Metaverse industry has not been established yet, I think. I guess metaverse industry has not been established yet, but it will be. It will soon. Some venture industries have not been established. I hope my business will be established enough to earn my money. I hope my business will be established enough for me to earn money, enough money. I hope my business will be established enough to earn money to make my living. To make a living. I hope my business will be established enough for me to make a living. Rock is an established genre of music. Opera is also an established genre of music. Animation is already an established industry. Video games are already an established industry, established industry. Animation is already an established industry. The one small company is now established company now. Video games. Other video games are already the established industry. The once established industry is now diminishing due to the advancing technology and changing era period. The once vibrant established industries are diminishing due to the rapidly advancing technology and era. The once vibrant established industries are diminishing, going down, due to the rapid advancement of new technologies. Some advanced industries are diminishing. Some established industries are diminishing with new era. Some established industries are diminishing with advent of the spread of the internet. Some established industries are diminishing due to the rapid advancement of technologies. There are many electrical establishments in Akihabara in Tokyo. There are many electrical establishments in Nihonbashi, Osaka. At that time, the establishment of the shopping mall was criticized by the locals. At that time, the establishment of the shopping mall was rejected by the locals. At that time, the establishment of the shopping mall used to be criticized and rejected by the locals. But now, it is a very vibrant hub which modernized and contributed to the vitalizing the area. At that time, the establishment of the shopping mall was rejected by the locals. But now, the shopping mall is the center of the city and contributing to the vitalizing the area. There are many electric and electronic establishments in Akihabara, Tokyo. There are many electric and electronic establishments in Nihonbashi, Osaka. There are many stories and hardships until the establishment of the company. There were many hardships until the establishment of the company. There are many electronic and electric establishments in Akihabara, Tokyo. There are many electronic and electric establishments in Nihonbashi, Osaka. A lack of sleep is harmful to our health. A lack of sleep is harmful to my health. Obtaining a lot of caffeine in a day turned out to be harmful to me. Obtaining a lot of caffeine in a day proved to be harmful to me, so I tried to reduce the amount of caffeine in a day, but sometimes I take too much yet. It's difficult to live without caffeine. Is the fume coming out of the chimney harmful to our health? Is the smoke coming out of the chimney harmful to my health? There are many harmful things which are bad to our health. There are many harmful custom habits which are harmful to our health. Which are many customs or habits which are harmful to our health. There are many habits, foods, and other things which are very harmful to our health. There are many habits which are harmful to our health. There are many foods, habits, which are harmful to our health. There are many foods, drinks, and habits which are harmful to our health, which are harmful to our health. Harmful, 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 harmful. There are many foods, drinks, and activities which are harmful to our health. A series of lack of sleep harmed my health. The snoring sound in the dormitory room harmed me a lot. The snoring sound in the dormitory room did harm to me. The typhoon harmed the area. The typhoon did harm to the area, especially farming. The typhoon harmed the area. The typhoon harmed the area, destroying many objects, things, stuff. The typhoon harmed the area, especially the paddy field. The grains were damaged a lot by the typhoon. The grains were hurt, damaged, injured, wounded, harmed a lot. The grains were harmed a lot by the typhoon. The typhoons were harmed a lot. The typhoon did harm to the grains. The grains of the fields were harmed by the typhoon. The grains of the farms were harmed by the grains of the farm were damaged, hurt, harmed by the typhoon. The typhoon harmed the area. The typhoon harmed the region. The typhoon harmed the region. Harmed the region. The typhoon harmed the region. The typhoon harmed the region. The typhoon did harm to the region. The typhoon harmed the region. The typhoon did harm to the region. The region was harmed by the typhoon. The region was harmed by the typhoon. The region was done harm to by the typhoon. The region was done harm to by the typhoon. The region was done harm to by the typhoon. The region was done harm to by the typhoon. The typhoon harmed the area, harmed the region. The typhoon harmed the region. The typhoon did harm to the region. The car accident did not harm me. Fortunately, the car accident did not harm to me. Long time usage of smartphone started to harm me. Long hours of usage of smartphone started to harm me. Long hours of usage of smartphone started to harm to me. Long hours usage of smartphone harmed me. Long hours usage of smartphone did harm to me. There are many elements harming us. And there are many elements harming us. And there are many elements doing harm to us. The mistake of the tourism industry, a tourism company, harmed me. The mistake of the company did harm to the customers. The delay of the departure of the plane harmed many passengers. The delay of the plane did harm to many passengers. Do not harm me. Do not harm me like that. Do not do harm to me. Do not do harm to me. Do not do harm to me. The car crash harmed the house. The car crash harmed the house. The car crash did harm to the house. His remarks harmed me. 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 His remarks did harm to 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 me. Do not harm me like that. Do not harm me like that. Do not do harm to me like that. His remarks harmed me. His remarks harmed me. His remark did harm to me. Typhoon harmed the area. Typhoon harmed the region. The typhoon harmed the farm. The typhoon harmed the farm. The typhoon harmed the farm. The typhoon harmed the grains of the paddy field. The typhoon harmed the grains of the field. The typhoon did harm to the grains of the field. The typhoon harmed the grains of the field. The typhoon did harm to the grains of the field. Natural disaster does more harm than good. Does more harm than good. Do more harm than good. Do more harm than good. Natural disaster does more harm than good. Does more harm than good. Resulting violence does more harm than good. Does more harm than good. Appealing to violence does more harm than good. Does more harm. Does more harm than good. Resulting to violence 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 does more harm than good. Does more harm than good. Resulting to violence 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 does more harm than good. Natural disaster does more harm than good. Disasters do 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 more harm than good. Resulting to violence does 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 more harm than good. Disasters do 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 more harm than good. Resorting to violence does more harm than good. Disasters do more harm than good. Do more harm than good. Disasters do more harm than good. Car accidents do more harm than good. Car accidents do more harm than good. Let's reduce the number of the things which do more harm than good. Let's reduce the number of the objects which do more harm than good. Let's reduce the number of things which do more harm than good. Let's reduce the number of things which do more harm than good. Let's contribute to reducing the number of things which do more harm than good. Let's contribute to reducing the number of things which do more harm than good. Let's contribute to reducing the number of things which do more harm than good. Disasters do more harm than good. Disasters do more harm than good. Disasters do more harm than good. Let's reduce the number of things which do more harm than good. Let's reduce the number of things which do more harm than good. Which do more harm than good. A lack of sleep does more harm than good. Resorting to violence does more harm than good. Disasters do 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 more harm than good. Have you seen the Mercury through telescope? Have you seen a clear Mercury through a telescope? Have you seen a clear mercury through a telescope? Mercury is included in the thermometer. 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 Mercury. Have you seen the mercury through a telescope? Have you seen the mercury, clear mercury, through telescope? Have you seen the clear mercury through a telescope? Have you seen the mercury through the telescope? Have you seen the clear mercury? Have you seen the clear mercury through a telescope? Have you seen the clear mercury through a telescope? Mercury is included in the thermometer. Mercury is included in the thermometer. Mercury is included in the thermometer. Water is a chemical compound consisting of hydrogen and oxygen. Carbon dioxide is also a chemical compound consisting of carbon and oxygen. Water is a chemical compound, composed of hydrogen and oxygen. Water is a chemical compound made up of hydrogen and oxygen. The shopping mall is a compound consisting of many shops. The shopping mall is a compound consisting of many shops. The facility is a compound consisting of many shops inside. The building is a compound consisting of many shops inside. The building is a compound consisting of many shops inside. The building is a compound consisting of many shops inside, especially recreational shops. The facility is a compound consisting of many shops, composed of many shops, made up of many shops. The skyscraper is a compound consisting of many companies. The skyscraper is a compound consisting of many companies, composed of many companies. Water is a chemical compound consisting of hydrogen and oxygen. Water is a chemical compound. Water is a chemical compound made up of hydrogen and oxygen. Water is a chemical compound composed of hydrogen and oxygen. Carbon dioxide is also a chemical compound consisting of carbon, and oxygen. No? Carbon dioxide is a chemical compound consisting of carbon and dioxide. Water is a chemical compound consisting of hydrogen and oxygen. The compound facility will be completed next year. The compound facility will be completed next year. Many shops will be included in the compound facility. Many shops and even a cinema will be included in the compound facility. Many shops will be included in the compound facility. There are about 36 shops in the facility, in the compound facility. There are about 65 shops in the compound facility. There are many kinds of shops in the compound facility. You can enjoy whole day in the compound facility because there are many things to do inside. There are many things to do inside. You can spend you can spend the whole day in the compound facility because there are many shops inside. You can enjoy the whole day in the compound facility. The compound facility is expected to be completed next year. The compound facility will be the hub of the city. The compound facility is hoped to vitalize the city. The compound facility is predicted to revitalize the village. The two cities were compounded into one. The two cities were compounded into one. The two villages 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 were compounded into one. Some of the pictures were compounded into one. Some of the pictures were compounded into one. Some of the pictures were compounded into one. Some of the layouts pictures words were compounded into one. Some of the pictures layouts words were compounded into one. Some pictures 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 were compounded into one. The two villages will be compounded into one soon. The neighboring vacant land will be compounded to the company's land soon. The neighboring vacant building was compounded into the company. Many pictures were compounded into one. Many pictures were compounded into one. The two villages 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 were compounded into one. The pictures are compounded. I can see that from the layout, resonance, quality. The picture must have been compounded. The picture must have been compounded because it doesn't look natural. The picture must have been edited and compounded by many pictures. The picture must have been compounded because it doesn't look natural. The pictures must have been compounded. The pictures must have been compounded because it doesn't look natural. The picture must have been compounded. 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 The engineer is good at compounding pictures to advertise customers well. The illustrator is good at editing and compounding pictures into one so that the pamphlet or leaflets will be attractive enough to attract customers. I used to lag behind other classmates in the class. I used to lag behind other classmates in the classroom. I used to fall behind other classmates. The runner used to lag behind other runners, but he came in first at the last moment, which surprised us all, which was also broadcasted throughout the country. The runner used to fall behind other runners in the marathon, but he came in first at the last moment, which surprised us a lot. The watch is lagged. The watch is lagging. You lagged again. You lagged again. The watch is lagged 2 seconds. The watch is 2 seconds lagged. The watch is 2 seconds delayed, lagged. I don't wanna lag you. I don't wanna lag you. I don't wanna lag anyone else. I don't want to lag anyone else, so I did my best. Since the time lag, because of the time lag, I had to stay late at night to have the meeting with the coworker living in other countries. Because of the time lag, I had to stay late at night to have the meeting with coworkers living in other branches, working in foreign branches in the world. I haven't experienced jet lag. Have you experienced jet lag? I haven't felt jet lag at all. So I'd like to know how it is like to feel jet lag. So I'd like to experience jet lag. How do you feel with jet lag? I'd like to know how my body feels like with jet lag. My watch is lagged. My watch is lagged 2 seconds. My watch is 2 seconds lagged. 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 The plane is predicted to lag. The plane is expected to lag again. The arrival of the plane is expected to lag. The arrival of the plane is predicted to lag. The arrival of the plane is predicted to lag. The arrival of the plane is predicted to lag. The arrival time of the plane is predicted to lag. The departure of the plane can lag depending on the condition. The arrival time of the bus can lag due to the condition of the road, due to the amount of the transportation, cars, and so on. The arrival time of the bus can lag depending on the amount of cars, vehicles. The arrival time of the bus can lag depending on the amount of cars, the amount of running cars. The arrival time of the bus can lag depending on the amount of traffic. The arrival time of the bus can lag. The arrival of the buses can lag depending on the amount of traffic. The arrival of the bus lagged because of the heavy amount of traffic. The arrival of the bus lagged because of the heavy traffic. The arrival of the bus lagged. The arrival of the bus lagged. The arrival of the bus lagged. The arrival of the bus lagged due to the heavy traffic. The arrival of the bus lagged. The arrival of the bus lagged due to the heavy traffic jam. The buses can lag. The buses can lag depending on the amount of traffic. The buses can lag. Everything can lag. It can be difficult to catch up once we fall behind, lag behind. The lag within 2 minutes are allowed. The lag within 2 minutes are allowed. The express fees will be returned to the customers if the train lags, if the lag is beyond 2 hours. The lag will be made up for by the coupon which is usable, which can be used in the airport. The railway company will make up for the delay, for the lag. The railway company is going to make up for the lag. The airline is going to compensate for the long lag. The railroad company is going to make up for the delay, the lag. The railway company is going to compensate for the lag. The railway company is going to compensate for the lag. The railway company is going to make up for the lag. Due to the time lag. Due to the time lag, I had to stay late at night to have the meeting with coworkers working for foreign branches in the world. Time lag. Due to the time lags of other foreign branches, I sometimes have to stay late at night to have the meeting with coworkers in foreign branches. Considering the time lag, we should leave here at night, and we will arrive at the airport in the country in the morning. So it's better to escape from jet lag. Considering the time lag, we should have the meeting with the co-workers living in other countries at the evening here. Time lag, time lag, time lag, time lag, time lag. My watch always has a time lag, although I set it at perfect time. My watch always has time lag, although I set it at perfect time. Time lag, 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 time lag. Due to the time lag of other countries, between the other countries, I had to stay late at night to have the meeting with coworkers working for foreign branches in the world. And due to the time lag in other between other countries, among other countries, I sometimes have to get up super early to have meeting with coworkers working for foreign branches in the world. Time lag, time lag, time lag. Have you experienced jet lag? Have you experienced jet lag? I haven't. I have been to a foreign country, but I haven't experienced jet lag. So I'd like to know how it is like with jet lag. So I'd like to feel how jet lag feels like. So I'd like to know how jet lag feels like. So I'd like to know how jet lag feels like. So I'd like to know how jet lag feels like. I have been to a foreign country, but I haven't experienced jet lag. So I'd like to know how jet lag feels like. So I'd like to know how jet lag feels like. The toxic waste are disposed of in the factory. The toxic waste are disposed of, dealt with in the factory. The toxic waste are disposed of in the factory. The toxic waste are dealt with in the factory. Playing video games a lot was a waste of time for me. I regret playing a lot of time. I regret having played video games a lot of time when I was a kid. The toxic waste, the wastes are disposed of in the factory. The waste are dealt with in the factory. So spending time and money on gambling is a waste of time and money for me. I don't want to waste my precious time anymore. I don't want to waste my precious time anymore. I don't want to waste my precious time anymore. I don't want to waste my precious time anymore. I don't want to I don't wanna waste my precious time anymore. I don't wanna waste my precious time anymore. I don't wanna waste my precious time anymore. Much food is wasted every day. I regret wasting much of my time playing video games when I was a kid. I regret having wasted much my precious time playing video games in the past. I should have studied more. The once desolate valley was transformed into a hub of business district. The once desolate wasteland. The once wasteland was changed into a parking lot. The once wasteland was changed into a parking lot of the company. The once wasteland was transformed into a parking lot of the company. The once wasteland was transformed into a parking lot. The once desolate place was transformed into an amusement park. The once wasteland was transformed into an amusement park. The once wasteland was transformed into a parking lot for the employees of the company. And there are many wastelands which should be turned into something special, something better. There are many wastelands. There are many wastelands. The once the once wasteland was transformed into a housing area. The once wasteland was transformed into a housing area. The wasteland was transformed into a housing area. The wasteland was turned into a housing area. Housing area. The wasteland was transformed into wasteland. The wasteland was transformed into a housing area. I'd like to reduce wasteful movements of mine. I'd like to reduce wasteful movements of mine. I don't like wasteful things of myself. I'd like to reduce the wasteful things of myself, of mine. I'd like to reduce wasteful things of mine. I'd like to reduce wasteful things of mine. I'd like to reduce wasteful movements of mine. I'd like to reduce wasteful movements of mine. I'd like to reduce the wasteful movements of mine. I'd like to reduce wasteful things of mine. I'd like to reduce wasteful movements of mine. There are many wasteful procedures out there which should be changed. There are many wasteful procedures which should be changed. There are many old procedures, old wasteful procedures out there which should be changed. There are many old wasteful procedures which should be changed. Wasteful. There are many old wasteful procedures which should be changed. Wasteful. 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 There are many wasteful procedures which should be changed out there. My movements are usually wasteful, which I want to improve. My movements are often wasteful, which I want to improve. My movements are always often wasteful, which I want to improve. My movements are often wasteful, which I want to improve. My mother buys many things on impulse, wastefully. My mother tends to buy many things wastefully. Some people boil water wastefully. Some people boil water too much wastefully. Some people boil water wastefully. Some people boil water wastefully. Some people boil water wastefully. Wastefully. Some people boil water wastefully. My mother is up to buy things wastefully. My mother is inclined to buy many things wastefully. My mother is inclined to buy many things at once wastefully. 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 My mother is apt to buy many things at once wastefully. Littering in this facility is subject to a maximum fine of $500, so do not litter. Littering in the train will be punished so heavily, so strictly in Singapore. I saw a board which showed the amount of money, amount of fines we have to pay if we violate the rules. I saw a board showing the amount of fines if we cannot comply with the rules. For example, littering, drinking water, using fire, and so on. They are all prohibited in the train in Singapore. And I was surprised at the amount of fines by doing so. So we shouldn't do that. I saw many litters thrown away on the street after the party. I saw a car driver throwing away a litter from the window, which is very bad. I saw a car driver throwing away a litter from the window. He should be punished. I saw a car driver throwing away a litter from the window, which I felt disgusting. I found disgusting. I saw a car driver throwing away a litter from the window, which I found disgusting. I saw many litters thrown away on the street after the party. After the party, there were many litters on the road, on the street. There were many litters on the road. After the party, there were many litters on the road, on the street. After the party, there were many litters around the clubhouse. After the party, there were many litters on the floor. After the party, there were many litters on the street. Litter. Please dispose of your litters according to the category. Please dispose of your litters into the garbage cans according to the category. Please do not drop any litters on the street to keep the cleanness of the city, town, and village. Littering a pet bottle is a serious problem. Littering a pet bottle is a serious problem. Littering a trash is a serious problem. Do not litter anything on the street. Littering anything in the street is subject to fine, at least 100 yen, $100. Littering a pet bottle is a serious problem. 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 Littering on the street is prohibited. Littering in this facility is prohibited. Littering in this facility is prohibited. Do not litter anything on the street or anywhere else. Do not litter your trash in the garbage can. Do not litter a pet bottle from your car. Okay? Please do not litter anything from your car. Littering garbage on the street is strictly prohibited. Littering garbage is strictly prohibited. Littering is prohibited. Littering is prohibited. Littering is strictly prohibited. Littering is strictly prohibited. The musician is famous worldwide. The piece is very famous worldwide. The movie is very famous worldwide. Do you want to meet a worldwide celebrity? Do you want a worldwide fame? Would you like a worldwide fame? Baseball is a worldwide sport. Football or soccer is also a worldwide sport. Global warming is a worldwide problem. Global warming is a worldwide problem. Global warming is a worldwide problem. All of the products produced here have to meet the standard. Only those parts which meet the standard can go to the next assembly line. Only those components which meet the requirements and standard can go to the next assembly line. Only those components which meet the standard can go to the next assembly. Only those components which meet the standard can go to the next assembly line. Only those products which meet the standard will be shipped to our customers. There are many requirements and standards which should be met before the shipping of the products. And there are many standards which should be met before the shipping of the products. There are many standards which have to be met before the shipping of the products. There are many standards which must be met during the production. There are many standards which have to be met before the shipping of the product. There are many standards which should be met, which have to be met during the production of the product. Let's start from the standard level. Otherwise, we might get injured in the advanced course. I hope the living standard will be improved by the government. I hope my living standard will be increased drastically. Wearing sunglasses is standard here. Wearing sandals is common and standard here. This is the standard edition, standard version of the CD. I hope living standard will be increased. I hope my living standard will be increased, or I have to do that myself. The standards will be changed depending on the period, trend. Standards will be changed depending on the period of the time. Standards will be changed depending on the trend. Standards will be changed with the new era. Standards should be changed with the new period, new era. The new standards will be created. New standards should be created with new era. New standards should be created in new era. New standards should be created in new era. My living standards should be increased. Everyone's living standards should be increased. I bought a standard version of the vacuum. I bought a standard vacuum. There are 3 classes in the vacuum. The most reasonable one and standard one I bought, and the exclusive one. I bought a standard version of the vacuum. The cat is likely to sleep. The cat is likely to fall asleep. 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 Can you tell the difference between lead and cadmium? Can you tell lead from 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 cadmium? The lead is very rusty. The red is rusty. The red looks so rusty. It should be left. It should have been left there for a long time. The red looks so rusty. The red should have been left there for a long time without nothing. Red, 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 red. Can you tell lead from cadmium? Can you tell lead from cadmium? Cadmium. Can you tell lead from cadmium? 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 Thanks to the label, I can know the name of the company and the content of the goods. Thanks to the label, I can know the use by date easily. The staff forgot to put the label on the product. The staff forgot to put the label on the product. The staff forgot to put the label on the product, which confused the customers. According to the label, the use by date of the product is Wednesday. According to the information from the label, the use by date of the food is in 2 weeks. According to the information from the label, the use by date is about 1 week after the opening. According to the information from the label, the use by date of the food is in 3 days. Apart from your terrible handwriting, your essay was perfect. Your essay left nothing to be desired. Aside from the terrible handwriting, your essay left nothing to be desired. Left nothing to be desired. Left nothing to be desired. Aside from your terrible handwriting, your essay left nothing to be desired. Aside from alcoholic beverages, I can drink anything. Apart from root beer, I can drink anything. Aside from beer, I can drink anything. Apart from beer, I can drink anything. Apart from the typhoon, my holidays was good. Apart from the car accident, my holidays was good. Apart from the rainy days, my holidays was good. My holidays were good. Aside from the minor mistake, my performance was so good. Aside from the minor mistake at the beginning of my play, my playing was said to be good by my teacher. Aside from the minor mistake at the beginning of my playing, my teacher told me my playing was okay. Thanks to the spread of the internet, Japanese culture spread the world rapidly, which made many foreigners have the interest in Japanese culture. I attended the meeting on behalf of my boss. The vice president attended the meeting on behalf of the CEO, chief executive officer, president of the company. I study for the sake of myself. I study for the benefit of myself. I study for good of myself. I study hard for benefit of myself, for good of myself, for the sake of myself. Many people earn money and accumulate some of them for the sake of their old age, for good of their old age, for benefit of their old age. Many people accumulate money for the sake of the life after retirement, for benefit of the life after retirement, for good of the life after retirement. I went to Tokyo for the sake of taking the examination. I went to Tokyo for good of taking the examination. I went to Tokyo for benefit of meeting my friends. You can open the door by means of touching your password on the screen at the entrance. You can open the door by means of touching the screen and typing your password at the entrance. I will go to Tokyo by means of night bus. I will go to Aomori Prefecture by means of night bus to save money, in order to save money, so as to save money. You can open the door by means of telling the secret, which we only know. You can open the door by means of touching your password on the screen at the entrance. You can open the door by touching your password on the screen. The fingerprints did not the fingerprint was not in line with the suspects. The fingerprint left on the desk was in line with the suspects. The fingerprints left on the desk corresponded with the suspects. The fingerprint left on the desk corresponded with the suspects. The fingerprint left on the desk was in line with the suspects. The fingerprint left on the desk was in line with the suspects. The fingerprint left on the desk was in line with the suspects. We will know and learn a lot in the course of our life. In the course of our lives. We will make many mistakes and learn in the course of our lives. We will make many mistakes and learn a lot in the course of our lives. The students can learn a lot about playing techniques of the piano in the course of the lessons. The students will learn how to cook many kinds of fish in the course of the lessons. I noticed many things in the course of my life. Japan relies heavily on import from China. I rely on my parents a lot. Children rely on parents a lot. Children will rely on their parents a lot. I stopped relying on you. I stopped relying on my friends. I stopped relying on my friends in order to grow myself. I owe my success to my parents. I owe my success to parents. Don't forget you owe me 10,000 yen. Don't forget that you owe me 10,000 yen. You owe 10,000 yen to me. You owe 2,000 yen to me. I owe my success to my parents. I owe my success to all of your kindness and support. I owe my success to all of your support. I owe my success to all of your support since the beginning. I owe my passing the grade. I owe my passing the examination to your support. I owe my passing the examination to teachers and the incredible textbooks. I owe my success to the incredible textbooks. I owe my success to my effort. Incredible effort. I owe my success to my incredible effort. Are you familiar with electronic devices? Are you familiar with anthropology? Are you familiar with physics? Are you familiar with medicine? Are you familiar with dermatology? Are you familiar with astronomy? Are you familiar with geology? Summer. I like summer except that it is very hot. I like summer except that it is very hot. I like traveling except that we have to sometimes have a long ride. We have to take a long ride between the destinations. I like traveling except that I have to take a long ride. I like traveling except that I have to take a long hours ride, especially plane, bus. I like traveling except that I have to commute for a long time. I like traveling except that I have to take a long journey. I like traveling abroad except that I have to take a long hours plane. I like traveling abroad except that I have to take a long hour train, a long hour plane. I love my job except that I have to get up early. I like the routine except that I have to get up early. I like my job except that I have to get up early every day. As far as I know, there used to be a post office in the land where the hospital exists now. As far as I know, there used to be a fitness club in the land where the convenience store exists now. As far as I know, he resigned recently. As far as I looked it over on Shinkansen, I think you can prepare for that from now. Enough to pass examination. As far as I looked the textbooks over on Shinkansen, I think you should start studying that. You can prepare enough to be able to pass examination. So you should start preparing for that from now. As far as computer is concerned, no one knows as much information as him. As far as Universal Studio Japan is concerned, he knows the most in the world. As far as Universal Studio Japan is concerned, many people ask him about the information because he has the most information about USJ. Are you accustomed to getting up early? No, I cannot be accustomed to getting up early forever. I envy someone accustomed to getting up early. I envy someone got used to getting up early. I envy someone used to getting up early. I envy someone used to getting up early. I have to accustom myself to getting up early. I have to accustom myself to getting up early. I have to familiarize myself to getting up early. It usually takes 1 hour to familiarize myself to a new environment. It usually takes much longer than average to adjust myself to new environment, to adapt myself to a new environment. It usually takes more than average for me to adapt to new environment, for me to adjust to new environment. It takes much longer than average people for me to accustom myself to new environment. Accustoming myself to a new environment takes much longer than average. Accustoming myself to a new environment usually takes much longer than average people. Are you accustomed to getting up early? Are you accustomed to taking trains in Tokyo? Are you accustomed to taking trains in Tokyo? Are you accustomed to driving your car in Tokyo? Have you accustomed to the life in your country? Have you accustomed to the life in Japan? Have you accustomed to the life in Japan? Have you accustomed to the life in Japan? I cannot be accustomed to getting up early. I am not accustomed to getting up early. I am not accustomed to getting up early. I have to accustom myself to getting up early. I have to accustom myself to getting up early. I have to accustom myself to getting up early. It takes usually much longer than average people for me to accustom myself to getting up early. For me to accustom myself to getting up early. It usually takes much longer than average people for me to accustom myself to getting up early. It usually takes much longer than average people for me to be accustomed to a new environment. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.